everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 59. Almost at the 60s. Almost there. Okay, so I know I start off like that to kind of give off some suspense and drama, but there's really not much to update as far as the Boston-based situation. I have maintained my cool, and I am laying off this nigga. Like, I'm truly laying off, and I'm not going to set a big ass intention because I feel like just with my record with him, it's just let's do everything day by day. But day by day, I realize more and more that it's just not productive for me to continue going back and forth with him. As I was listening back to this last episode of my podcast, and I was just thinking to myself, like, it's ultimately, yes, feelings sometimes blur our sense of judgment, our just common sense. We still have to make the choice and decide, do we deserve better, or am I just going to put up with the same old, same old? And I just think at some point, we all have to just come to that space and do better. So doing better is a conscious choice. It's a everyday decision. And so I'm choosing to do better every day. And what I notice is, as I'm doing better and like feeling more at ease and at peace with just us not communicating and me not reaching out, I also think about like, oh, well, maybe I should send like a closure text, or maybe here's what I'm going to say when because I know he will eventually text me. I just don't want to think about that. I don't want to script it out, and I don't really want to send anything because I've done all of that. I've done all of that before. I would send him, like, I've broken up with this nigga how many times, and we're not even together, but I've broken up with him. I sent texts like, look, it's just best that we just keep it platonic, or hey, things are just not working out, and I would just break up with him. And I've done it several times, and he always weasel his way back into my life, and I will always leave that door a little open for him. And so instead of announcing what I'm doing or what needs to be done, hey, if you want to keep this relationship or keep whatever we got going on together, you must do X, Y, and Z. I'm just not going to make any announcements. I just feel like it's necessary to not speak and just do. Like, I want to do better. I don't want to be with him. I don't want to continue this back and forth. I don't care for this inconsistent, toxic situation that we got going on. So I'll just do better and not engage. Like, what's the point of engaging and trying to make just a thesis statement when there's still a lack of understanding, and just the record of us just doesn't make sense for me to send out another script for him to read and eventually find his way back into my life. I just feel like instead of doing that, I should just do and just not engage, not respond, not text, not any of that, and just do better. So that's what I'm choosing to do. It's an everyday process. I mean, I'm not tempted at all to text him. Like, I've always felt at peace when we're not communicating. Isn't that funny? That is so telling. Like, I've always felt at peace. I didn't feel stressed. I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on something. Like, I didn't feel like a piece of me was gone. It'd just be like, okay, good. Whew. Finally, I ain't got to deal with his stressful ass, or I ain't got to deal with his make you feel guilty ass. I think when a man makes you feel guilty for just anything, when they lack any accountability, that's a red flag. Like, he would find his way to kind of point the blame on me, or like play the victim card, and I'm just so tired of it. Like, I've dealt with that in a previous friendship I had, and when people are so quick to play victim, they hold no accountability. They hold no sense of responsibility, and they don't put in the work to do better and be better. So that's what he would do often. I remember one time like he had a migraine or something. Yeah, he had a migraine one night, and that like was another excuse as to why we couldn't spend time together. And so I'm okay, whatever, let me be sympathetic and go ahead and rest, feel better, whatever. The following morning comes, and this is my vacation time, by the way. So I'm sleeping in. Like, I'm not waking up 8, 7, 6 a.m. You know, this is not me getting up early to get to work. This is my vacation time. So I'm sleeping in at like 10:15 a.m., of course. But I'm sleeping in. So I get a text from him at 10:30 a.m. And this was during the break. I got a text from him talking about, oh, hi, I'm feeling better from my migraine last night. Thanks for asking. Thanks for checking in on me. And then he gave me an emoji, the thumbs up emoji. Like, nigga, if you don't get take your leave and leave me alone. The fuck? Oh, am I supposed to pat your head with this cloth? Am I supposed to suck your dick and make sure your migraine goes away? Like, no. Oopsie daisy, you have a migraine? Nigga, get the fuck over it. Like, I just... And then I think about, like, oh, there's no consideration to my schedule. Like, he didn't even care to consider, oh, let me say good morning first and ask, you know, if she's up, how's your morning? How'd you know, like, it's just an immediate, he's expecting me to text him in the morning as soon as I wake up. And it's like, nigga, first of all, I was still asleep, nigga. I wake up to this text of your passiveness. Like, that's the baby toxic shit that I deal with and that I've dealt with from him. Like, that's what I don't miss. That's what I don't desire back into my life. So when I would have rare ass moments and I would just create fantasies in my head about, oh, what I thought we could have been, I think about those clear, real, frequent, toxic, petty moments from him. And I just snap myself back into reality. Like, okay, yeah, I actually don't miss him. You know, I notice that sometimes as women, and I definitely know for myself, I will like create fantasies in my head of like whomever I'm seeing at the moment, and I'm already 6 months down into our relationship. I'm already 3 years in, and we only had a first date. Like, I already think of the future, and that's not okay. That's my toxic trait. But I will already think of the future, or I will create these scenarios in my mind of like, oh, when he meets my family. Like, nigga is not meeting my family. No, he may have met a few of my cousins, but that is it. I am not introducing my mom, my Haitian mother, my Haitian father to this pothead. No. Okay? There is no interest whatsoever, Bob. No interest, okay? But yeah, like, I will create fantasies in my head, and I will fall in love with those memories that I would create in my head. Memories that aren't even real, memories that haven't been lived. And I would create these memories, and I will hold on to them. And that's what I would miss. It's like this weird psychotic thing that I'm doing to myself when, no, let's remember the reality. The reality is this nigga doesn't make time for you. He doesn't prioritize you. He speaks to you like you're a child, and he uses passive aggressiveness to manipulate you. He gaslights you, and he makes you feel not the best self. Like, I want my partner to uplift me and all of this great stuff, but he doesn't do that. So I have to, and what I've been doing lately is like, I would tell myself, okay, wait, this thought that I'm thinking about him is actually nothing that has been lived in real life. This is just an image or scenario that I'm creating in my mind. And so let's actually think about real moments with him, and think about many of those moments when I felt disrespected, dismissed, ignored by him. And let's replay those moments, those real ass moments, so I could remind thyself, oh, yeah, this nigga ain't the one. Like, so that's what I've been doing. That's what I'm doing more and more consciously of. And I just think there is a way to not think with your heart. And I think the heart is definitely like a vital thing, like in relationships or whatever. But I also feel like our mind is something that we should utilize more, something that I should utilize more, and just be realistic. Like, okay, logically, realistically, this is what it is, and this is what I don't like. I want someone who can make me laugh, and he doesn't do that. I want someone who I can have a fun time with, and this nigga stick up in his ass. Like, you look up stick up in his ass, you see his picture. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. So I'm happy about that. I do notice that he's been like gawking my Instagram stories, liking my recent Instagram pictures. It's just like this whole manipulation that he does the same thing. And I feel like he is not that dumb. Like, I don't think he's dumb enough to know the message that he's giving, like, or to not know the message that he's giving. Like, oh, remember me? Think of me? Let me watch your videos. Let me be the first 2 or 3 people in your viewers list for your Instagram stories, so you could see I'm watching you. Or let me be one of the people who's liking your images, knowing damn well I get notified. It's just like this whole like, you have time to like my photos. You have time to view literally every fucking, I wake up, I go to sleep, I eat food, I show pictures of my food, I'm walking outside, I'm on the side, like, he's viewing every single one. And it's like, okay, all this energy to view all of this, but you haven't responded to the initial text I sent after, the death of your grandmother, and me being the great Samaritan that I am, asking, hey, how you doing? How'd you sleep? Just trying to check in. But it's just dumb. Like, if you're done with me, then be done with me. Don't look at my stuff and don't like my stuff, and don't create this thing. Like, he's creating this type of, it's very manipulative. That's all I could say. And I could see right through it. So I'm going to keep on saying that to myself and think more with my mind, because I'm awaiting. I'm not consciously waiting for him to text me or whatnot. I'm not. I don't care for it. But what I do know, according to our history, this is what he would do. He'll look at my stuff. He'll be frequently looking at it. And I should expect a text, whether it's through my iMessage or DM through Instagram, and a message from him. And so I'm just going to mentally prepare for that to come. I'm not looking forward to it, but what I am trying to just tell myself is that, remember the plentiful moments of toxicity and stand my guard. Because I really don't like doing it. I really don't like it. Like, it's really not worth it, honestly. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I was watching, oh my gosh, so I watched this show called 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It's on Hulu exclusively. And I started watching it on the airplane. You know how on the airplane they give you access to certain free shows or movies? And so after I finished watching a movie, I'm like, okay, let me watch this show. So I really enjoyed it. Such a cute little show. Really, like, good messages, good vibes. It's just cute. I love it. And so one of the characters is kind of battling between being in a relationship with someone who is good on paper, like, oh, he cares about me, and he knows everything about me, and, he's a good guy. And she's battling with, like, really giving this relationship a shot, from exploring what could be a growing spark between her and this new guy that she met a few episodes ago, actually. So, and it just made me think about real life and how many times I'll come across people who, oh, they look good on paper, or, he's a really good guy. He's nice. He's nice. And it's like, yeah, but do you make that pussy wet? Like, yeah, but do I get butterflies? Do I get excited for your company? And the answer is no. The answer is truly no. I was recently, I guess it was a date, but I was spending time with somebody who I talked about on this podcast. Oh my gosh. So remember that white guy from episodes past? I don't know how many episodes ago, but the only white guy I've ever really allowed myself to be interested in. Like, okay. But he's like a Greek white. So is he really white? He doesn't have blonde hair. He has black hair. And he's pretty conscious. Like, he's pretty woke. Not to the point where it's like him trying to be seen as woke, but you could tell that he's very in tune with just the politics and just the treatment of minorities and those who are disenfranchised. Okay, so he's pretty in tune with that. So what I could appreciate with him, and we have cool conversations and whatever. But yeah, so just to kind of backtrack, we went on one date months ago. Actually, I don't remember exactly when. It was like a few months ago. We went on one date, not a few dates. We went on one date, and he didn't give me that energy, like that little, that nigga energy. That energy. He didn't give me that energy. And I just felt like I just was not I just was not attracted. He's not ugly or anything. It just wasn't, he didn't give me that butterfly, that chemistry, that spark, that, oh my gosh, touch me like, ooh, hold the small of my back. He didn't give me that energy. And so, and that was the energy I was feeling throughout the day. Like, he wasn't really aggressive in a playful, flirtatious way. And that's what I like. I like a flirtatious nigga. Like, give me that flirt. Whatever. So, towards the end of the date, I decided, I'm like, hey, let's just, go home respectively. Because initially I agreed for us to, I think, come over my space and we'll just spend time, whatever. But literally on our way to my apartment, I pulled over. I was like, yeah, nigga, I don't want to. No, I'll see you Monday at work. So no. And I think that maybe it turned him off. But ever since that day, it just kind of felt a little awkward between us. But he was already, and he still is a socially awkward weirdo. Like, okay, stop. But he's not as bad as another man I dated, I went on 2 days with, the autistic nigga that I told y'all about. I think he had Asperger's. Yeah, Asperger's. But this white man in particular, I feel like he's a little socially awkward and not as aggressive as I would want him to be. But towards the end of that date, when I pulled over and he pulled up behind me, we hugged and it seemed like he was cool with it. He was giving me a little aggressive energy, like a nice masculine, flirtatious, aggressive energy that I was like, oh my gosh, where was this? Ooh, he picked me up, we hugged, it was kind of kissing my neck a little, it was cute. So I'm like, okay, that's nice. Where was this? Sir, we were out on this date for an hour. Where was this energy, sir? So anyway, we ended it right then and there. He didn't come over. So ever since that point, we just kind of fell off, and he was just kind of giving me awkward. It was just weird. So whatever. Just recently, we reconnected. I reached out because I was like, you know what? Whatever. Let me just reach out. Maybe I could have him has a back pocket. Like, it wasn't like I was reaching out because I miss him. I really want to be like, it really wasn't like that. And it still isn't like that. And I appreciate that I could be honest with thyself and realize I don't want anything more. And when I was like, okay, I'll explain. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that I think sometimes maybe I come across like I'm really looking for a relationship, or maybe I don't. I don't know. But I just want to make it clear that I don't want one. And I think that is why I'm attracting plenty men who are not on that same page, or maybe why I'm attracting or still attracting same Boston Bay, and it's the same energy from him. Maybe it is. But anyway, so me and the white dude, we went out. Well, I came over. He cooked me some food. Food was cute. And let me just say this. Let me just give a disclaimer. No, nothing intimate happened. Like, we did kiss, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But nothing intimate happened. Let me just put that out there to start this off. But here's the thing. I know what I'm about to say sounds kind of elitist and bougie, but look, I'm not ever, and this is a big reason why I probably didn't give him any, because when I walked into his apartment, or I should just say it's a shack. Like, it was a shack. Like, no. It probably was considered, it probably is considered a basement. And who would think there's basements in Houston? Like, what? But the way that it's set up, like, this is a basement that someone renovated to look like it's a first floor apartment. And I wouldn't even give it the name apartment, because I feel like, how is this an apartment and I have an apartment and my space is much bigger? Like, and oh my, if I walk into your apartment, your space, and you're a man, and we're dating, we're hanging out, getting to know each other, we're attracted to each other. If I walk into your space and all I see are tiled floors, I'm going to walk the fuck out. No. I don't think you heard me. All tiled floors. Like, you know how there's tiles sometimes only in the kitchen, and then when you break off into other rooms, it's carpet or maybe wood panels. No. This was all tiled. Like, it was tiled from the corner to the other corner, to that corner, and to the other. Like, whoever invented this home thought, oh, tiles is fine. That's it. Only tiles is fine. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is where you lay your head? Oh, okay. And I never in my life, because he told me he lives he always kind of made it clear to me that he's not a materialistic dude, which is what I can appreciate. I totally can. But, sir, no, absolutely not. I'm not opening my legs to you in this apartment. If anything, come over here, because this is ridiculous. You only have tiled floors? Oh, okay. Like, I can't do it. Okay, so that was like red flag number one. But at this point, I'm already inside. Like, he already closed the door behind me. I'm just like, oh my gosh. My arm is scratching. Like, I'm scratching my arm. My arm is itchy. Everything on me is itchy because I just see tiled floors. Like, tiled floors are only for basements. And that's why I think this was a basement. And if you're gonna, like, whoever renovated this or tried to renovate it, if you're gonna have a full basement with a kitchen and a bathroom, can you like switch up the tile floor? Like, can we switch things up? Like, everything was a cold ass surface. My feet are cold. Hey, petite. So I walk into his space and I'm just like, okay. I turn around. My arm already is touching the wall, and I think I'm in the middle of the living room. But my arm is already, I'm in the wall. That's how tight your basement apartment is, sir. Where did you, and mind you, I gave the option for us. I was like, oh, your place or mine? He's like, his place, because he has a dog, and lately he hasn't been home because he's working the second job to make, just extra cash on the side. And that leaves his dog kind of to himself, to herself. The dog's a she. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me be understanding. And I like visiting other people's spaces. I just like seeing other areas. It's like, oh, let me see how you decorate. Let me see if I could get inspired. I was not inspired. I'm not inspired. Sir, where is this? And especially because the area that he lives in is typically a nice area. Like, all the homes on the block were beautiful. All the homes, there was another apartment complex that was beautiful. There were actual houses that were on his block. So I was thinking to myself, oh, does he have his own house? He got his own house? Oh, I'm about to go into a nigga's house. Like, that's big time for me. I just like houses, especially going into a man's house is like, oh, well, I know, like, with men, they're not as, decorative as women, or they don't have any sense of style. But if you tell me you have a house, it's like, oh, that's dope. Like, I think it's just a great accomplishment. Anyway, I just was in his space. I'm just like, oh my gosh. His kitchen was super small, and I have a tiny kitchen at home, like back home in Boston, super tiny kitchen. So I'm not judging that part, but I just feel like, oh, you couldn't, like, I understand you're not materialistic, but nigga, damn, be materialistic at this point. Because if this is what not being materialistic looks like, I don't want it. Okay? I don't want it. That's Aren't you uncomfortable in your own home? Like, I'm uncomfortable. And so I'm like, let me just stop acting bougie and let me just be comfortable, right? I'm fine. I don't see any, like, bugs walking around, or I think I did see a spider web, but you know what? Who doesn't have spiders, right? Right? I'm literally saying all these things in my head to make myself feel better. Mind you, he has a dog, like I mentioned earlier. And he has this little gerbil in this cage. And I forgot he had that gerbil. He got it from, he got it from a previous student who, like, gave it to him as a gift, and he still has it. So I didn't know he still had it. So I'm just like, what is that noise? Oh my gosh, you have rats just, like, in your walls right now, and you're not freaking out? And I'm looking around to find that noise, and I realized, oh, it's coming from the gerbil cage. And then he's just like, oh yeah, it's my gerbil. I'm just like, this is some white man shit. Nigga, what the fuck you have a gerbil in your house and you don't have a kid? It's one thing to have, like, those tiny little rat-like animals if you have a child. And, children may look at that, oh, this is so cute, blah, blah, blah. Sir, you are my age. This is not cute. I already gotta walk on your tiled ass floor, and you mean to tell me you have a gerbil that's really a sister of a rat? I don't care how cute people be like, oh, it's so cute. I don't care. It's a rodent. Ugh. Okay. And another thing about white men, I just feel like, and white men, this is the only white person I've, like, been in his home, but I feel like it's a white people thing anyway, because I do notice, whether it's through TV or just through my surroundings, I do notice, like, white people, they really love their pets. Like, not just his gerbil, but, like, he has a dog who is, like, a medium size, a black colored dog, and he loves him down. Like, to the point where I felt, and I said it right then and there too, I felt like I was the third wheel. That's how much he loved his dog. He made it clear. At one point, and you know how dogs are. They kind of sniff you up, look at you up and down, see who's this bitch in my home. Like I'm really stepping boundaries because I'm in this dog's home. That's how it felt. So I'm like, this is great. I'm not even that comfortable with dogs. The only dog that I am comfortable with is my sister's dog, who's a small Yorkie-sized dog. Like, it's a Yorkie. Like, how scared can you be of a Yorkie? But this dog, it didn't bark. It's not a barker. She was super, like, chill. But she was following me around, looking me straight in my eyes like, bitch, who is you? And what you want with my nigga, aka owner? What you want with him? Like, I felt like I was invading on a man and his woman. But really, the woman was just a little bitch. Literally. Okay? So I'm just like, ugh. And you know how people say dogs kind of sense your feelings. And they can sense if you're afraid or whatnot. So I'm just like, oh gosh, this is so weird. But let me be cool and let me just be fine with it. And I did mention, you're not gonna put your dog in the crate, because my body language is showing that I'm not too comfortable with the dog. Like, put your dog fucking away. And he's like, oh no, I'm not. And here's the thing. I was a little perturbed by it, but I quickly got over it because I realized, look, this is his space. This is his space. How privileged am I to even request such an action over a dog who lives here? It'll be one thing if I'm bringing my dog to someone's house and they want to be mad at me for not putting the dog away. Like, I'm not supposed, or I want to be mad at them for not putting my dog away. That's not how it goes. I'm walking into your home and you knew I had a dog, so adjust or leave. And that's fine. So I respect it. But it really just shows, wow, this nigga really loves his dog. And that was like sign one. So we're sitting down and his dog is looking me up and down, like looking me up like she wants to do something. Like, she didn't bark though, but she was like eyeing me, sizing me up for real. Like, I'm not being dramatic. She was sizing me up. So I'm like, okay, get your dog. get your fucking dog. Okay? So the dog finally comes around to his owner, and this nigga picks up his dog and holds him on his lap, like belly out. The dog's belly is out, just protruding out. And it's a female dog, and I think she was pregnant recently because you can see her nips kind of protruding. And I'm just sitting there like, what? And he's like, oh, who's a good doggy? Who's a good doggy? Oh, Zizi, you good doggy. Like, just like loving her down. And I'm just like, look at him like, nigga, I'm a full-ass woman right next to you with these plump-ass breasts, and you mean to tell me you have your dog on your lap instead of me on your lap? What the fuck? I was literally in astonishment. I could not understand why you would want to have this whole, like, you didn't have this dog on your lap yesterday. You need to have her on your lap right now in my presence while I'm over here trying to be cute. Sir, this is the social awkward shit I'm talking about. So, literally, the dog is on his lap. I'm sitting there like, okay, let me just drink this water and eat this pasta that he made me. I'm just like, oh, this is so bullshit. Whatever. So, we're still having a cool conversation. And, I eventually say, like, probably 2 hours in, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, thank you for having me. You were a great host, like, walking my way out. He walks me to my car. We then finally kiss. And I'm saying finally, like, because it's not like I was waiting all night or like I was looking forward to it so badly and I couldn't help myself. It's not like that at all. Like I really don't like him like that. I just wanted something to do, honestly. Like to be honest, I just wanted something to do, and he was available, and that was fine. I was curious, like, oh, so a white guy, let me see what he's about. Let me see what type of energy he could give me. And things could have ended differently if he didn't live there. Like, it really could have ended differently if he lived in a better space. And I really would have been like, okay, lock your dog up. Let's see what we could get going, whatever. But eventually, when we walked to my car, he did ask, oh, you want me to kiss you? Or like he's very like shy or reserved. And then when we finally kissed, he finally unleashed. And I mean, it was cool. Like, here's the thing. I don't want to perpetuate the stereotype of white men not having lips, but he really didn't have any lips. Like, he really doesn't have much lip action. And he has a little bit of a little mustache. And so what I really was feeling in my mouth was his hair from his face. Yeah. So I'm just like, am I sucking on his mustache or his lips? Like, sir, where is your lip? Sir, can you just shave real quick so I can identify? Because I really could not figure it out. So I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. This is so satisfying. So he's kissing me, and I'm trying to get into it. Because I'm just like, look, let me just get into something. I just want to do something right now. That's how I am sometimes. So whatever. So he's a little aggressive with his kissing. And that's what I didn't like. At least I didn't like it from him because he didn't have much lip to feed off of. And so he was like kissing with his teeth a little bit and like biting on my neck. And I really felt like he popped my blood vessel. I probably was bleeding by the time I got home. I didn't realize it. But I really felt like he popped my blood vessel. That's how much he was chewing me down. Like, okay, vampire, the fuck? Should I call you the Slayer now? Like, this is not attractive. Stop. Back up. Let me show you how to kiss. And like, he was tonguing me down. Like, sir, I don't. And I kind of said things like, oh, calm down or be gentle. Like, try to coax you or coach. Is that the word? But like, I was trying to coach him in that moment. But I think maybe he thought that was sexy. And I'm just like, okay, let me just try to get into it and just, I don't know, but it just didn't give me that heebie-jeebie. It didn't give me that whoo. And so I'm just like standing there like, ugh. And I felt his dick hard. I was like, okay, white man's dicks get hard? I'm so ignorant. No, I mean, obviously they do. They're just like every other man. But it was just exciting. I just wanted to say I did that. And look, I know for sure I'm not gonna go fuck in his apartment. Like, that's not happening. No, that's my standard, and I will stand with that, okay? But hey, maybe on a bored day, bored night, and he's free and I'm free, he could surely, or, if I'm interested, I'll invite him over, whatever. But it was interesting because, what happened? So he was like, because before we kind of got into like kissing, whatever, he was saying how him staying in Houston is not going to be a long-term thing. He's planning to leave in maybe the next year or two and start over somewhere else. And like, we were just talking about all of that. And so he was saying how, he can't promise like much, or he can't promise like anything long-term or future-wise between us. And it was so funny because in my head, I'm thinking, damn, this white nigga too? But I was totally fine. Like, I wasn't like upset. Like, I looked at him, I was like, oh, that's fine, because I'm not looking for anything serious right now. And when he said that, I realized in that moment, not just in that moment, but like, I don't want you either. And I think it's fair to tell or communicate with your partner or with whomever you're speaking to in that moment that, hey, I'm not really looking for anything serious. Like, we don't have to like start this facade of, hey, what do you look for in a partner? Or what do you look for in a partner? Like, it's okay to both say, I'm not looking for much serious, intense plans moving forward between us. And it's okay if we just kind of keep it casual. So I felt good in that moment to really stand in that and say, yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious either, especially not with you. Like, I don't feel that butterfly with you, and that's okay. Like, we don't have to force things, and I don't have to force it with him. And it was fine, but it was just interesting because I'm just in that moment trying to kiss him, and his tongue is trying to like take away my esophagus, and I'm just like, sir, I gotta go. This was it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when I'm gonna meet my next white guy to kind of, compare and contrast. The next one, if there is a next one in my near future, he would have to have lips, like, and less of a beard, because, sir, I couldn't feel his lips. Sir, I can't feel your lips, sir. Okay. So that was that, and I had to catch myself. Because I remember when we went on our first date months prior, I would immediately create these idealistic, fantastical moments in my mind that never happened and that probably couldn't be an actual thing between us. But I would create these moments in my mind of us like, oh, taking couple photos and revealing our pregnancy, or like crazy. You know how so far us women, we go and start planning a whole life with someone we just met, and it's like, there is no life here. This could just be a moment thing. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So, you know how typically towards the end of the year, people like to get on their moral code, just introspective wave. I'm gonna forgive whoever has a problem with me. Let me know. Let's move forward. I want to forgive. I want to be forgiven. I want to heal. I want to resolve whatever issue may be pending between me and whomever. And I think that's beautiful in theory. And I also feel like there's still just a level of common sense and just intelligence, emotional intelligence that needs to be had when those thoughts or feelings come into play. Like, basically what I'm saying is, don't let the end of the new year, or the end of the year and the beginning of a new year, manipulate you in thinking that you have to forgive and forget and just wash over all of the just toxic friendships and relationships in your life. And I'm just saying this because I've been thinking about, and not heavily, but I've been thinking about the toxic friendship that I ended a few months ago. And I'm like, I wonder if this is something that I could consider like forgiving and hashing out and having a full adult conversation that's transparent, that's honest, that's compassionate. And I gave that some thought, and I thought about it because I was watching a video on Instagram of this girl, well, this young woman, not young, but she's in her early 30s, so fairly young, still young. And her name is Francesca. She is a Black woman, and she was just giving her take on what is called radical honesty. I think that's what it was. And pretty much what that is you would just be completely honest, holding no bars, holding no holding nothing back when it comes to having a conversation with someone who you care about or who you once cared about. And you're just completely having an honest conversation, allowing both parties to get whatever it is off their chest and do it in a manner that is just completely honest. Like, there's no fabrication, there's no sugarcoating, there's no politically correct way of doing things, about just being honest straight from the gut. And she was saying how she was practicing that recently with a few friendships of hers that she either ended, whether it was her choice or not, but friendships that were like ended up being toxic or ended up being petty for whatever reason, and then both parties didn't talk for X amount of time. And there were different cases when she just wasn't talking to a former friend of hers for a couple of years, a few months. It varied. And after having like a radical, honest conversation with that friend, she was able to be at peace and move forward. And both parties were just kind of back at it in repairing their friendship. Like, both parties were willing to repair and be honest with each other and enjoying the fact that, oh, you know what, we got over this hump, or we're getting over this hump, and I don't want this to happen anymore. I want us to be friends again and lovely, blah, blah, blah. And she ended the video with just her not like persuading or like strongly encouraging people to do the same thing, but she was just suggesting, hey, give it a try. If you notice that there's a friendship in your life that ended and maybe doors weren't fully closed and maybe you need some closure, or maybe you needed to kind of get some things off your chest some more, then she suggested to have this radical, honest conversation to move forward and consequently repair the broken friendship. And it was beautiful, honestly. The way she described how she did it, the way she felt in that moment, and how relieved and at peace she felt about it, and how joyous she was that, oh wow, this former friend of mine is now a current friend, and we're loving each other again, and we're hearing each other, and we're better, and all this great stuff. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to hear, and it's always beautiful when things that were once broken is now repaired. But I don't give a fuck. Like, no. I'm just gonna say this. Although that is beautiful for her, and maybe for some other people in this world who may have tried that, and like, I've gone through like points in relationships, whether it's in family or certain other friendships, when we reached like an awkward point and we maybe had a blowout, and we eventually move forward from it. But the recent friendship that I'm talking about that I ended because it was so toxic that I don't see it. Like, I don't see me ever wanting to repair that. And that's it. Like, I don't see myself ever wanting to entertain it, ever wanting to have a conversation and for both of us to hash it out. I just feel like I said what I said, and not to sound shady, I don't want to sound like a meme. I said what I said. No, like, I genuinely said what I said. I genuinely left what I said at that table, figuratively, of course, but this all happened like via text. Like, and of course, ideally, it would be better to have these conversations in person, right? But sometimes shit don't happen ideally, and that it is what it is. But what I can say is I worded everything the way it needed to be, and I was radically honest in that text message that I sent to her. When I decided I do not want to be your friend anymore. Like, I do not want you as my friend. I do not want to be in close quarters with you. This is something that I do not want to continue. And that's that. And I just think, maybe some of you may be thinking, it was just a blowout. Y'all could get over it. And are you still mad about it's been months later? And yes, it has been months later and time has passed. But what I do know is I will never forget how I felt. I would never, like, even though I'm not crying about it there was like one point when I was emotional about it. Like, wow, this is the friend that I thought was my friend, and she treated me like this, especially in the company of other people, especially in the company of another person whom she wasn't friends with for a year and some change. Someone who didn't invite her to her wedding, and they had a whole falling out, but now she's taking her back. Like, all of this bullshit, like, wow, this is your friend? And you're treating me like shit? Oh, okay. Like, all of that considered is enough for me to see that this is not my friend. And no matter how many radical conversations one could have, the door is closed. Like, there is no, and I also say that because she is the type, and look, maybe she's undergone some growth, right? Some self-growth, some spiritual growth, some come to Jesus moment growth. She needs all of that. But I also don't see that in her. Like, she is not someone who can take accountability. She's not someone who could take responsibility for her actions and be completely humble. And I've said this before, like months ago when I recorded the episode, I'm Rich Bitch. But I pretty much said how she's the type of friend who she won't fully take responsibility. It'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe I did that, but you did this. And it's like, but what? That's not even what it's not a back and forth. It's never just a solid, I did do this. I am sorry for X, Y, and Z. And I will do my best to not repeat that action or repeat that behavior. It's always, well, look, I'm sorry you feel that way, but you made it seem like blah, blah, blah. Or, okay, yeah, my bad, but you did say, like, what? It's never that with her. And when someone is not introspective, when someone is not spiritually mature, there is no room for an open door. There is no room for a kumbaya moment. There is no room for that. And I think what makes me sad is I've been through, like, as I've talked about on the podcast, I've dated niggas, many of them, okay? I dated many of them for X amount of time, whether it's like for a short time or maybe a longer period of time. And whenever it would end and just suddenly disappear and dissipate to something that just never was, I would think to myself, like, oh man, like, did we really have a moment? Did he really like me? Were we really engaging in this high energy, flirtatious, love, lustful moment? Or was it just all in my head? And many times I feel like it was all in my head. I feel like many times when I've entertained some men and gone out on dates, and if I felt like we were on the same page and then we ended up not being on the same page, it made me feel like, damn, something that I just manifested in my head and it wasn't really real, right? And that's how I feel about this friendship. And I think that's what makes me sad, is like all those years of friendship that I've had with this person, I don't think it was real. Like, I don't think it was a real, genuine friendship. I don't think it was something that I truly could say she was a friend. Because when I think back to many occurrences, I could see that there was a lack of genuineness. There was a lack of sincerity. It was something that I felt like she was using me to kind of get her, get her excitement. Like her coming here to Houston and me inviting her over. That was me genuinely wanting to host my friend and have my friend here. Oh my God, you're supporting me. I'm so happy, you're the first friend to come visit me here in Houston. I was so excited for that, and I was so thankful for that, and I showed my gratitude. And I would say repeatedly throughout the weekend that she was here, I would say, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming. Like repeatedly, I would show my gratitude. And every time when we went out during that god-awful bachelorette trip, she never showed gratitude. She never showed humility. She never said words like, you guys, I just want to say, look, like she never gave a speech and said, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming here. I know it takes a lot for all of you guys to be here. We all have our own schedules, and I'm really grateful and blessed and humbled that you guys chose time out of your schedule to be with me, to celebrate me. And none of that was ever said throughout that trip. And I took note of that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. She never said thank you. She never said she was grateful. She never showed gratitude. And I think that's something that is obviously a red flag, a big ass bright neon sign. It's something that is to be said of someone's character. When someone's character is poor and toxic and just nasty, there is no room. There is no entertainment of, let's repair our friendship. No, our friendship was just mostly consisted of, fun times. Just let's go out. Let's go out on a weekend getaway and have fun. She came here to Houston to kind of indulge in my life and see how I live and just have her fun. It was more of a selfish act than it was of truly being a friend and being in my home, like in my new home, in my new hometown. This town that I've cultivated has my home away from home. And so when I just think of someone's character, and because it's one thing, we all fuck up, right? And I'm not perfect. I'm obviously flawed. And I hope I'm showing that transparency to everyone as you listen. So I don't claim to be perfect. I don't. But a bitch is perfect here. Okay. In this case, a bitch is Mother Teresa, Saint Anne, Saint Catherine, all of them saints. I don't care. I'm that bitch in this circumstance, okay? I'm still humble, of course, but I'm just saying, in this motherfucking circumstance, a bitch is a nun. Hello? The fuck? Anyway, what was I gonna say? But when someone, I totally forgot my train of thought. But when someone just shows you their character, there's no room to, cause yeah, like I was saying, people, we all fuck up. We all have our, maybe we made a poor judgment. Maybe we made a poor decision. Maybe we got caught up in our feelings or whatever. But when it's beyond that, we slip up. But when it's beyond that, when it's a consistent pattern of toxic energy, when it's a consistent pattern of just poor behavior after poor behavior, when it's a consistent pattern of selfishness, when it's a consistent pattern of lack of accountability, why? Like, I don't give a fuck the New Year's coming. No, I'm not. New Year, no to the friendship. Like, New Year, still no. Let's say that. New Year, still no, nigga. Like, it doesn't mean anything. So, I'm just saying all that to say, don't let the end of the year get you caught up back into the traps of a toxic, not just relationships. I know I talk a lot about relationships here on this podcast, but also friendships. Reevaluate the people in your life who you call friend. Are they really your friend? Will they really back you up? Here's the thing, I should know that you're a good person when I'm around friends of yours who have been friends of yours for years before I became your friend. And when those friends are clearly communicating not just one, not just two, but several accounts of your toxic, destructive, just selfish ass behavior, the problem is you. It's not anybody else. It's not, I'm gonna turn the blame around you. Yeah, I did that, but you said no. The toxic person here is blank. Like, that's what it is. That's very telling of someone's character. I should be around someone's older friends, and those older friends could say, yeah, so-and-so is so great. Like, she really held me down when I was down and out. Not, yeah, girl, when it was my wedding or when it was my birthday, she showed up 2 hours late with an attitude, didn't follow any type of order that I wanted, was just a complete BI, and now she suddenly wants me to be this same, just to be this servant of hers when she hasn't shown any type of gratitude or any type of humility to warrant that same friendship in return. You know, like that's just what it is. It's just very telling when people are just truly who they are, you know, and whoever they are. If that's toxic, then we don't have to have another conversation. What I said was enough. When I closed the door, that was the finale, you know? And I'm not saying this to be rude or anything. It just really got me thinking, when typically towards the end of the year, people are so quick to want to have these kumbaya conversations and these kumbaya moments and just come together. I love you. You love me. I miss you. And it's like, no, I could still miss aspects of a friendship and still decide, nah, you're still a fucked up bitch. Like, you're still a horrible person. And what also makes me sad is that I don't talk ill about, I really don't talk ill. I really don't. Like, when you're my friend, I'm going to defend you, even if maybe you could be wrong. But I'm going to be like, yeah, but, you know, she's a little sensitive. Or, like, I find a way to kind of hold you down, even when I'm not in your presence. And when it was clear to me she was talking shit about me, and she was doing it in the presence of my enemies, quote unquote, in that moment in time, when I tell y'all that trip was just, it's a trigger. When I think about Miami, I'm just like, ugh. And I shouldn't have to have that thought about Miami. You know, I want to go back to Miami and just have a new memory of it, a new recent memory of it. But that's the only recent memory of it that I have so far. So it still has that trigger. And to think that a friend, someone who I called friend, someone who I have invited into my home, into my new home, into this new life that I have cultivated for myself, to know that this friend of mine was in the company of women who were just talking down on my name, trying to make me look bad in front of her, and she was soaking it in and adding on to it. Over what? Over what? And I've always been the friend, I'm never gonna kiss your ass. I don't care whose day it is. Birthday, wedding day, Tuesday, nigga, no day. Okay? I will keep it real, and I will still show compassion. I will still show sensitivity, but I will never inconvenience myself to the point where I'm not gonna go and entertain X amount of dollars just so I could be struggling on my way back to Houston trying to piece $10, $20 to hold me down until my next check. just because you want to go to fucking Versace mansion. Bitch, no. You know, and I'm never the one to plan, like, just put a screw in things. But my thing is, look, I'll do this, but I'm not gonna do that. I'll even it out, or I'll maybe I could suggest X, Y, and Z, you know. But apparently that was an issue, and apparently that rubbed some of the ladies the wrong way, and kind of put this bug into my so-called friend's mind, into my so-called friend's ear, for her to suddenly egg it on and commiserate into this shit talking of Maxine. And that's what shakes me up. That's what just makes me so unsettled, in the fact that you were my friend. And I'm not gonna keep on talking about this because it's just like, that's what just, you know, I feel like when you come from a genuine space, and when someone does you wrong, like truly does you wrong, it's not like I'm gonna hold on to the grudge forever. Like, no, but it's just, I don't need to, like, you don't need to be in my life. I don't need to entertain this. I don't need to suck your ass. And because the other ladies did that, and I was the sour or the green thumb who did not, that is what led to her feeling somewhat entitled. And like I would never do that to somebody. I would never do that to a friend. I would never do that to anybody. And I just never been that girl. I've never been that girl who, it's my birthday, I do what I want. Like, I just never understood that. And maybe it comes from a space of, like, I mean, my parents celebrated my birthday. Like, they say happy birthday, gave me money, recited their I love yous, and that was that. Like, I never really had a big old celebration. I never really felt like, okay, Dad, I said I wanted the new iPhone. You didn't get me the new iPhone. Fuck you, Dad. Like, never. That's not me. It's just like, okay. Like, I want to say my birthday's another day, but it's like, it's another day and it's my birthday. Like, that's what it is for me. I never had that mindset when it comes to that. I just don't think that's a healthy thing to have. And when people go on and say, it's my birth week, it's my birth month, it's my birthday year, like, what? Bitch, there's a birthday every day. Like seriously, there is just a level of privilege that some people try to hold on to just to control something. Like, it's really not that serious. And this goes for any type of day. Wedding day, birthday, Tuesday. No, I'm not, like, I just don't understand. And when I remember in that, I keep on hashing it out because I'm trying to release it some more. But I remember saying, like, you know, I can't afford some things that you guys are trying to do. And I think that, you know, there should be a level of balance. Like, why can't we all agree to do something that's a little bit more financially steady, or a bang for my buck? And apparently that was a trigger word for her, because she said that to me in response to our text exchange, and I just don't see the fucking problem. What the wouldn't you want to bang for your buck? And another thing that just really strikes me odd is this bitch has been broke, like, all of her life. Like, there is no sense of newness. There's no confusion of that. Like, of all people who have struggled financially, who have maybe gone through leaps and downfalls when it comes to money, she should know. She should be the one, yeah, girl, I get it. Let's not do this. And that's what tripped me up about it. Like, of all people, you should know what I'm talking about. You should know I'm doing my best, piecing things together, and I'm supporting myself. I don't have a rich fiance. I don't have a rich man who could take care of me. I'm not saying that to slight, but I'm saying that this is the context in which I reside in, right? You don't live in that context anymore because you lucked up. Right? There's love there. It looks like it's genuine love, whatever the case is. But this is your new reality. And just because you're not in this space anymore doesn't mean that you can't understand it, doesn't mean that you can't be compassionate, regardless of whatever day that we're celebrating. And that's what really just threw me for a loop and made me really hurt about the whole situation. Because of all people, she should be the one to understand. Of all people. So anyway, I say all that to say, no, the door is closed, locked, bolted. What else? A chair is against the door. A bookshelf is against the door. It is closed. It is closed. It is closed. It is closed. Okay? It's closed. And I just encourage everyone who is listening to the sound of my voice right now to truly reevaluate the friendships in your life and consider, hey, is this friend that I may be having consistent problems with? Is this friend, does this show something about the friend's character? Or does it simply show, oh, the friend just made a poor decision, right? Or truly look into that. Is it a character? Is it a huge character trait that is like beyond a simple mistake? Right? Is it someone's true nature? Is someone just truly a selfish person? Is someone just truly a miserable person? And that's what I really think it is. When I think back to some things that she shared, there's a lot of healing. And this is me trying to be Iyanla. I'm not trying to fix anyone's life, but I see things differently. I see things in a deeper manner. I see things underneath the surface. So there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And that's still no excuse to have that door open, right? That's still no excuse to, okay, she just been through a lot. I've been through some shit. Everyone's been through some shit. It doesn't excuse you being a complete bitch to a friend who truly was a friend to you. So that's that. Like, I hope she gets the healing that she needs. She truly needs it. And I hope she comes to a moment of clarity and compassion and humility. Either way, the door is fucking closed. Okay? And I just, And of course, the lesson learned here is don't go on any motherfucking trips. It's like, no. I mean, I don't want this, because I was thinking for a moment, like, man, I don't want to not have female friends, or I don't want to be afraid to be a part of a girls group. Like, I love that word, cultivated, but I've cultivated my girlfriends here in Houston. And I really enjoy the female friendships I've made here, and just the group that we have, and just the energy that we exuberate amongst each other. I really enjoy that. And I just, of course, I fear, like, I don't know. I don't fear it, actually, because I see them actually mature women. Like, they're mature and they have their shit together, as far as emotionally. They seem to be, and show themselves to be, mature women. So there is no fear about that. It's just, I just don't ever want to feel or experience what I did and what I experienced with my former friend. Like, that was truly, it was a traumatizing moment. And I just thank God that I survived it. I mean, nothing was going to happen. Like, I wasn't going to fall off a cliff, or, like, I remember talking to my cousin about it. She's like, Mama, did you get in a fight? I'm like, bitch. I'm surprised it didn't happen. Honestly, the way the energy was, I mean, no one was buck enough. Like, I wasn't with no hood rat bitches, so I couldn't foresee that, right? But it was a bad time. It was a really bad time, so maybe it wouldn't be too surprising. But I just, yeah, the door is closed. But yeah, I don't want to walk in fear, and I don't want to think in fear because of that poor fallout with someone who I called a friend. I want to take this and continue to learn from it. And maybe the moments when I'm triggered about that time, maybe I could think to myself, hey, this is a lesson that I'm learning. Hey, this is something that I could take away with me. And hey, yes, this poor thing happened to me, but that doesn't mean that I deserved it. It doesn't mean that I needed for this to happen. It just meant that this was a way for God to show me this shit needed to end, and it had to end the way it did, I feel like. So although it was an unfortunate, horrible, toxic, traumatic moment, I think it all needed to happen the way it did for me to see who she was ultimately. Like, not just someone, oh, she just made a poor decision. No, this is who she is, like, truly at her core. And I think that's another thing that makes me sad. Like, damn, that's who you are. You're miserable. Happy New Year! The door is closed. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Please share your thoughts and please follow God Built This on Instagram. I encourage any listener letters or topic suggestions or maybe guest appearance inquiries to please send them over to godbuiltthis@gmail.com. And I'm going to end it here. Thank you for tuning in. I will check in with y'all next week. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of God Built This podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud, and also leave a comment. God bless.